Does this work? Yes. In the back? All right. I have a big voice. Well, that was embarrassing, but thank you.
That was embarrassing.
In a good way, but thank you. That was, I don't really know how to say that. But thank you very much for coming out to Portland, too, for choosing Portland for the next city. All these huge cities, right? There's Chicago and DC, and then with Portland. Yeah, it's an honor to be. It's an honor to be the magazine. I've been reading it for a few years now, so it's an honor to be in it and among such great company too. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm really glad that I'm not reading after Sam, which I've done a few times before in my life, and that's not fun. Well, after he's done, then the night's over, so it's kind of like one of those things. So I'm glad I get to get this out of the way. Thank you very much. I was actually going to read, of the 3 poems, I was going to read the 2 that were most referenced, I guess, from the editors. I do have a habit of bringing out caps in people. It's usually not a positive thing, but I'm glad that they were caps heavy. So of the 2 poems that you just referenced, the first one is One Studies What's There. No graves yet, no broken bloodlines or bodies filled with silence, gods made from bodies and their silence, no past curled under a rock ready to strike, not enough casualties to justify breaking open the earth and regretting. And my parents are nowhere to be seen. Just a pristine stretch of green before us and waiting for dread to give us purpose. A whippoorwill chameleoned gray against bark, even its song indecipherable from wood and wind, and thinned to rib an almost vanished river, like every summer that has passed us by into white. A gate rusted open, the world rushing in and out, a violin's desperation cutting us through a neighbor's paper curtains. Is this finally what matters? When what we know is coming negates what we have? In the distance, the field knuckles up into hills, gray and unmarked stone. Gradually, things move toward this. And then there's your body, hard against mine, here, already tasting like exile. And this unfingered abacus of stars overhead, so vague and uncountable, we're not sure where we begin. One Studies What's There. The other poem that I wanted to read from this brand new issue, and I hope everyone was able to look at it and look at the other ones too. It's always tough with readings. I'm going to give a shout out to the magazines over there. Make sure you go take a look at them. The next poem is the small Story of Us. Snow whispers down to meet the wild rising sparks halfway. Around the fire's rock rim, ordered rows of deer prints end in a furious indent. A red thrashing powdered white like cotton gauze. The stream's current remains a direction we can't follow. And in the black absence of stars, we know the world is exactly how we left it. A tattered map pieced together from places that may not exist when we get there, warm our laps. Towns taped together at the seams, mountains with bold names moving from one folded square to the next, each river 6 inches shy of emptying into an ocean. Something that passes for a ghost passes from our lips. That way we have of talking endlessly to make sure we're not a cavity of snow. I am cold and can see my name billowing out before me each breath and then moving on. I am so cold the nakedness of the flame that keeps us here hurts as much as its tapering embers. So those are two of the poems in the new issue of December. And I just was going to read just a couple other newer poems, I guess, if I may. And this first one, honored was just in the Vallum, that Canadian magazine, just won their award about a few weeks ago. So I'm honored for that. It's called "It Was a Golden Age of Monsters." The sickle moon bobs like a child's paper boat between silhouettes of paper mountains. I am watching steam swell off a herd of bison in a black and white book about the American West. Too young to read much into what I'm reading. The world is all image, unfinished rail track in Douglas fir, level saw cuts, rings tracing back to the beginning. The dozen spears projected from the felled paper beast are replaced the next chapter by rifles and iron and that same falling. Tomorrow it will snow, and my father will drive me down to the hospital again. Snowflakes crazing about our headlights, paper moon between the mountains. I will be thinking about bison, blood on the page, the pillow. The road that curls home always seems to erase itself, and the steam coming off it, frail as breath. This next poem is my next collection is coming out about mid next year. Has a lot to do with this particular topic, which is grief and personal loss and things like that. And this is one of the prose poems from it. This is called "Death is a Work in Progress." My mother says "fox" while gesturing toward an old red wagon abandoned in our yard for decades. A word so cavernous, her entire body vanishes into it. Body of misfiring electrons, scattered images, contexts. Body that is mainly just body now. No other animal knows how to be this incomplete. I think if you were a fox, coyotes would have eaten you by now. But I say, yes, I'll climb into that fox and let you pull me through the high grass one more time. And there are a lot of wonderful readers, so I just have two more poems before we get to hear everyone else. And I was getting a scattershot of a whole bunch of different contexts and themes. This poem is really it's about our native poets, which finally, thankfully, a lot more people are paying attention to our native poets just in the past few years, almost even more, few months. But there are a number of people that I love and that I'm in communication with. And one of them, Joan Kane, she has a couple beautiful, beautiful books out, some of my favorites. I plucked, she was one of a few people that was in the American Poet, that magazine, and there was an issue that had a big chunk, big article about native poets, and she has a beautiful quote in it. And I have begun to understand that I'm going to mispronounce it. I should have looked it up beforehand. Inupiaq? Does that sound right?
Inupiaq. I'm the expert.
Oh, hey, yes you are. Hi, Scott. And you're coming for Corvallis for this. I'm sorry.
Inupiaq, you got it.
Inupiaq. Oh, thank you. I have begun to understand that the Inupiaq language itself is a form of resilience. That poems are a form of resilience. That was Joan Kane's quote from that particular issue. And based on that, I wrote this. Because you are what song breaks open your throat, and because the same century burns a different mark into me. For now, I can just listen to how choreographed our forgetting, to the dark little narratives of this is mine / yours, in that order. Can you sing this country its name? Because skin has a memory all its own, and because memory is a language that's survived its skin. For now, I just walk the waist-high, replanted pines of unassimilation, carrying my words like anchors through an open field of oars. So I hope I was able to do Joan some kind of justice with that. And finally, this last poem is a two-part prose poem, and it's called "This Is Only a Test." Otherwise, everything is acre upon acre of locusts, leveling the new season's prairie grass, and the fires set to drive them away. Garbled through an old radio transmitting the world through tinfoil. Stay inside unless you're in the burning path. Otherwise, I guess, we should flee in whatever direction is opposite destruction. Children shrink under school desks, and on the top floor of a swaying building, I'm asked if I believe in God. There's too much desperation squeezed beneath door frames, too many windows opening and minds set on flight. Beneath us, the earth moves in predictable ways. A week-long sandstorm in Nigeria. A young girl gathering flies at a checkpoint somewhere, still cradling a visa and sack of rice, feeding the grass. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure everything within us says something beautiful. Thank you very much.